It's August 28th, 2012, and this is Push the Lane. I'm Nick Allen, and I'm joined by a guy who wears a hairnet to sleep, James Reilman.
Hey, I need some way of looking this good every day. But right off the bat, MLG, this past weekend it was a really fun tournament, but the alleged collusion tainted the entire experience. What are your thoughts on the matter?
As a tournament administrator, I have to look to MLG at this one. Why weren't the administrators of the tournament stepping in and be like, actually, you know what, this can't happen. You need to stop, you need to remake the match. We need to make this competitive. But instead, they actually tweeted out, hey, look, this is an ARAM, this is gonna be amazing. The community was all kind of happy about it too, but slowly but surely, people started to realize that this is actually gonna affect the spirit of competition for the event and future events. So I'm really looking at the MLG admins. Where were they during this whole thing?
Yeah, and there's no question that disqualification was required basically at the end if there was supposedly the match fixing going on, if they thought that the players were trying to decide who was going to win. That's absolutely unacceptable in any circumstance, in any sport. However, you also have to look at the managers. Where were the managers at this point in time? If it was so public, everyone's saying, you know, all the comments right now are that it was very public, very open. Why didn't someone just step up and say, no, bad, you know, hit them on the nose? To try and get an end to it. I don't think we'll see it any further. There was the zero tolerance policy, so the decision in the end was, absolutely perfect to shut it down, and we'll see coming forward.
Of course, the competition was a little bit tainted, to say the least, but the finals were good. We saw Dignitas and Curse. Both these teams were playing extremely well during the tournament. We saw some interesting plays for them in the finals. What did you think?
Well, Curse, they finally have a win, and they don't get to keep it. I was excited about Dignitas, though. I was going to rub it in your face, but then it turns out there's no winner in this tournament. The big story, though, Dynamic coming back. And if they played like they did a month ago, then they have a very strong team. But they looked out of it. They never looked like they were quite in it. But this past weekend, all of a sudden, it just clicks. Zion Spartan's the strong top lane he's always been. Zig in teamfights has great positioning. And they just work with Nintendo.
I actually liked Orbit a lot more during the tournament. Of course, they got 4th place. They lost to Dynamic, but they got to play Monomaniacs for that ace spot for PAX. They lost that, but unfortunately, it was unfortunate, but they look really strong. They get to go out there coming into the late part of Season 2, playing really, really well, really good level 1 strategies. And so they did really good at MLG. It's sad we won't see them at PAX, but I know they have a strong future in Season 3.
And now European tournaments, ECC Poland, Gamescom was clearly the biggest tournament of the year. However, there was Campus Party this past weekend, and Fnatic was able to take it home. What were your thoughts on the tournament?
Well, Fnatic, of course, looking really strong, but the story for me was SK Gaming. They didn't even make it out of group stages. Last week I said that I can't call them the real deal because they don't have a consistent track record. And again, this just goes to further my point. They continue to not do well. They do well every now and then. They didn't, like I said, they didn't make it out of group stages, and they just aren't consistent. So they're not the real deal. They suck. I'm sorry.
I'm disappointed, Nick. You, of all people, should realize that they're hungover from the past weekend. They had a really nice tournament. It was a big win for them. It was the biggest win of their entire career. And they also faced some really tough competition at Campus Party. They lost, one of their losses was to Fnatic. And Fnatic with Soaz in the top lane, XPK in the mid. I think XPK is one of the best mid players in the game. They're looking very strong. So it's perfectly acceptable and understandable for SK to lose. I think they're very strong coming forward, though.
Okay, sounds good. Moving on, OGN finals coming up. CLGEU versus Azubu Frost. Of course, CLGEU beat Najin Sword.
Oh, did they?
Oh, they did. And then Azubu Frost beat Azubu Blaze. So what do you think? Who's gonna win?
I have CLGEU going all the way. Najin Sword was their first big Korean experience, and they rolled. When CLGEU was considered potentially the #1 team in the world, it was because of their versatility and strong laning. They're always some of the best laners in the game, some of the best players at their positions. Against Najin Sword, one of the games, they actually had Wicked top as Shyvana and then Snoopy playing as Cho'Gath in the jungle. So we're seeing that versatility again. The big concern for them is watching out for Relax and Rapid Star pressuring the top lane, because Wicked, when CLGEU fails, it's because Wicked was pressured too much in the top lane, gives up some early kills, and Relax and Rapid Star are looking for that early aggression.
I'm gonna have to take Azubu Frost. It's not that I don't like CLGU, I just don't think they're any good. And so Azubu Frost is gonna come into the match, and they're gonna have the knowledge and the experience to do well. They're also going to be collaborating with Azubu Blaze. Azubu Blaze, of course, won the first season of OGN Champions League, and they have all that knowledge, all that experience, all that skill, and that's going to transfer over to Azubu Frost going into this match. They're basically going to have the knowledge and the strategy of two teams, and two extremely strong teams at that. So CLGEU doesn't stand a chance because of how good Azubu Frost and Azubu Blaze are.
I'm just gonna blame Buddy for the whole CLGEU thing isn't good. I'm just like closing my ears. You never said it. Coming to the next stuff, PAX NA Regionals this next weekend. He's hating me behind the camera. It should be a really exciting tournament, but clearly the three big favorites, TSM, CLG, and Dignitas. I expect TSM with the 1, and there's the 1, 2, 3.
Well, you are a TSM fanboy. So,
you are too.
No, I'm not. No, because I'm taking CLG NA. They're coming back from Korea. They haven't played a North American team in a really long time. They've gotten to practice against CLGEU. They're decent, CLGEU, and so they have some pretty interesting strategies. When we saw Dignitas coming back from Korea, we saw them winning a lot of different tournaments and matches because people hadn't adapted to their new style. CLG NA has this new style from Korea. People aren't going to know what to expect, and because of that, they're going to win the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree that CLG NA is going to be very strong, and they're kind of a mystery team. I like some of the interesting new comps they tried. Their split pushing has always been the best in the world, and they're very strong at kiting teams as well. So it's going to be nice to see that early aggression. It's kind of interesting to me to see who's going to potentially come out that's not one of the expected three, because it's a single elimination tournament. You expect to see some cheesy comps or someone getting in there, but there's not an easy road for anyone. Curse, I don't know if they've ever beaten TSM, so that's going to be a tough road for them. Dynamic, they have looked very strong, but they're going to have to match up against Dignitas in round 1. CLG potentially afterwards. I just don't see an opportunity for someone outside of the big three to get in.
If anyone's going to surprise, I think it's going to be Legion. They play really aggressive in the early game. The matches are best of 1, so I think they have the best shot, if anyone, to break into that top 3. But that's it, guys. That was Push the Lane for August 28, 2012. I'm at Nick Allen IGN on Twitter.
At Baroncast, I remember my name this time.
Nice.
So thanks, guys, for watching. Make sure to go check out the Reddit thread, get in some arguments, debate, tell Nick Allen how good looking he is. Better yet, myself. And yeah, we'll see you next time.